So we start from the beginning.
Hey guys.
Hi.
So I hope you guys can hear us and see us. I don't know. I just hope. Let's have a look. What camera is being used? Yeah, that's the camera right there, if I'm not mistaken. Cool. So we are back on live. I don't know if anybody was able to hear us a few moments ago. We had some problems, unfortunately, with the connection. So I had to stop the transmission and start again. So that was a big pain. But I think I'm just gonna wait for a second before we start. So I think people will be able to see us this time. Hopefully. Hopefully, yes. I'm just sharing here a little bit the link. It's a difficult time in Poland as well. People are going out. It's not so simple to have guests. Now we've got someone there already watching. We'll start in a second. Okay, posting here the new link. I hope that your friends will be able to find out, because we we changed the link. So
okay. Yeah.
Hopefully they will be able to find. Because if they at least the link guides them to the page directly, so they should be able to see it. Let me do it. So I guess we can start. Hello everybody.
Hola brasileiros.
Let me just remove this from here. Okay. We've got that. Just sharing with our friends again a new link. Cool. I see. Okay, so we are definitely live.
So we start from the beginning.
I guess we have to. I'm
okay.
sorry, man.
No problem. It's like in TV shows in sports. Repeat.
Yeah, we had everything planned. We were supposed to start on time, and now that I have a German guy with me, I started late as a typical Brazilian.
Yeah, I'm pleased to help you with that.
Bringing me back to my original self. It's like my friend gave a presentation of where he said that Brazilians see the time in like a circle.
Yeah.
So if we're late here, we can catch up here, and we can delay. Yeah. It's always able to. It comes back. So you never lose. But Germans see the time linear. So if you miss here, then you can never come back to that.
Yeah.
I hope you'll be able to come back.
I take it as a new start.
It's a new beginning. You have a chance to improve the answer.
Yeah, true.
So guys, we have here Florian, and he's German, Polish, German. I don't know. He hasn't given me the right answer. So basically, he's here today to talk about Poland and Germany to us, and some differences between culture, living there, like cost of living, and work culture, general culture, and several other things. And also, he's going to talk to us a little bit about his family history, which is very interesting. So hopefully people are now connected with the right link. Yes, I can see people, 3 people live at the moment. Hello, guys.
Hey.
I gave him a Portuguese sentence to say, but he refuses.
You said this is very mean. So
no, it was nice.
No,
he doesn't trust me. He thinks I'm giving him a different one. So Florian, you said your family. I mean, this guy has a very interesting family story. You said about your family being affected by the war, and somehow them being in Germany, and then that's why you are also German, and you're here.
Okay, no problem. To start again, from my mother's side, the family is German, living in South Germany. The area is called Oberschwaben, Upper Swabia, you may say. and they're living there for centuries.
You say Uber?
Ober, nicht über. Ober.
So you're leaving Uber. Man, you guys are out of money.
Oberschwaben, yeah, and this is in South Germany, and this family is living there for centuries. And from my father's side, the family is from Poland. So my grandfather, he was a Polish soldier, and because of the war, he became a prisoner of war in Germany, and also, like to say, slavery work. And my grandmother, she was also kidnapped in Poland and brought to Germany for slavery work in factories. Wow. This was a common thing. A million of Polish people had this kind of destiny during the war.
Okay.
And after the war, they were in such camps, you may say refugee camps. They were called displaced person camps. So all those people, homeless, who were foreigners brought to Germany, were kept there by the Allies. And they, and because of my grandfather was afraid of the communists, he did not go back to Poland. Their request for migration to United States and Australia was not accepted, so they stayed in Germany after the war.
Wow, what a story, man! My goodness,
history.
That's incredible. And then when was like? Did you always knew the story about your family?
Yeah,
or since the beginning.
Since the beginning, I mean, discussing about the war belongs to my earliest childhood memories. Actually, it was always a topic in my family.
Did you ever feel a bit angry with your other German half? Because you're Polish and German.
Angry? No, not really. I mean, it was always a topic, and you had two kind of different narratives in the family told, but it's not as in a sense that I had a conflict or so. Okay. There was a time in my life where I would have said, okay, I'm 100% Polish, or I'm not. So, you know, all those teenage conflicts times, so on. But like real conflict, like that, I had a real inner conflict, I wouldn't call it.
So when you're living in Uber, you said if in the school, if people say, well, what is your nationality? If they ever said, you said you are German, Polish always, or you said I'm Polish or
No, German. No. This was complicated. I mean, I lived on the countryside village, so everybody knew about the family background. So it's a small village, and there I had this label, the son of the Polish guy or the Pole, and in school. So yeah, they knew that.
Okay. Well, it's an intense story. It's tough, but it's, what can we say? You know, history happens, and I hope, you know, Germany and France and all the countries, you can learn from history, and this thing can never.
I'm happy. I'm happy that we're having now these times where Europe is more united and we do not have these conflicts anymore. Of course.
Yeah. True. It's just football now.
Oh yeah. That's a topic.
That's true. What about language? Because you were born and speaking German as a native language. Did you speak Polish when you're at home?
No. We are speaking a local dialect at home, and so German.
Uber?
Swabian, Schwäbisch.
Oh, okay, Swabian. I thought you were speaking Uberish.
Oh man, I never get this joke out of you.
I never met anybody that lived in Uber.
Uber, not Uber.
Uber. Okay. It's just my pronunciation. The word is the same. Uber.
Then we were speaking Swabian dialect. We are speaking a Swabian dialect. So I did not grow up bilingual, but Polish was always around me. So my grandparents were speaking Polish with each other. We very often had Polish guests at home, so Polish was a familiar language. It was always around me. So, how to say, when I was a child, I knew always the basic words. I was not able to speak in a sense, but I always knew the basic words.
So for you, learning Polish was very difficult, or not?
Hard to say if I'm a good example for a typical German learning Polish. So as I told you, Polish was always around me, and I had a bit of disadvantage. But it's not easy coming from German learning Polish, because it's two different languages from two different language groups. So the grammar is different, the pronunciation is different. So I would say I had English in school for years, and I would say learning, but even if you're not considering this, I would say it's easier for a German to learn English, which is still closer to German, as learning Polish.
Okay. The sound might be complicated to pronounce as well.
The pronunciation, of course, but also the grammar is different. You start the sentence from a different point, so also you start thinking from a different point. Yeah. So language is not just other words; it's also another logic.
Other way of thinking.
True. Another way of thinking. So it's not other words; it's also another way of thinking.
For Portuguese speakers, is incredible because Portuguese is a total also different language from the Slavic language. But for Polish, for example, all the sounds that exist in Polish we have in Portuguese and vice versa. So for a Polish person to learn Portuguese, it's going to be easier than to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
Because there are certain sounds they don't have it here. But for German,
for me, still a challenge are those sh low. Have different kind of sh, S with dot, S with dash, and S with dash, and so on. And a lot of they have a slight different nuance of differences, which I still today nearly don't get. So
you still don't understand?
No, I understand the words, but for me, it's hard to pronounce this correctly.
Right.
And there are sometimes the situation I'm telling something, and what did you say? And I'm repeating, and then and that's what I said. No, you said because of this little difference. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, like in 2 years, I'll be able to apply for Polish citizenship. And then, of course, after, if people say, what is your nationality? Then I will be able to say I'm Polish, because legally I will be. But I'll have the Brazilian accent. So I'm just wondering, how do you deal with that? Because you are blood, Polish from origin.
Yeah.
And you say you have accent.
It's. I had this discussion once with my brother-in-law. How you define being Polish? Or being a nationality? Do you define it by legal stuff, so passports, citizenship? For me, check, I have both.
Sure.
Heritage, check, I have both. Yeah, so I'm both, of course. But of course, there's one point. I was born in Germany. I grew up in Germany. I was socialized in Germany. So that's maybe the only point where you can say there is a bit more German than Polish. But on the other hand, Poland was always part in my life. As I told you, it belongs to my earliest childhood memories. Polish language, Polish family stories, family narratives. So this was also always present in my life.
I see. Wow. It's something that also in Brazil we are, even though I'm Brazilian, but in Brazil it's divided by states as well.
Yeah.
So if you're born in one state, it's as if like you have that nationality in the country. When you move to another place, people will consider you from being, a foreigner in a way. And it's true, we can be like that. So I was born in São Paulo and raised in Minas Gerais, so I have an accent from another place than the place I was born. So every time a Brazilian say, "Where are you from?" I say, "São Paulo." So no, it's like a bit like what you're saying. I don't have the São Paulo accent, but I'm born there and lived there for some years.
I mean, what I realized very early in my life is like people like to put you in a box.
Oh yeah.
They label you. So I can give you a story or stories. It's like I grew up on a small village in a valley, so small mountains, not very high, so it's not the Alps, but you may compare it to the Bieszczady in Poland or so. So like valley, and it's a small valley, and when I traveled up the mountains to the next village on the heights, and someone would ask me, "Where are you from?" and I said, "From this and that village," and they would say, "You are one of those valley guys."
Oh.
If I would travel down the valley 12 or 20 kilometers into next town, and they would ask me, "Where are you from?" and I would say, "Yeah, from this area." You're one of those mountain guys.
Oh.
Other thing is,
so in Germany you are categorized by valley, mountain, or the plain fields.
More or less. I mean, I could give you the names, but it wouldn't tell you anything.
Okay.
And the same is I have family in Bavaria, by the way, and when I travel to Bavaria, it's like, where are you from? Ah, you're one of those Swabian guys.
Wow.
When I met people from North Germany, where they are very ignorant to people to South Germany, where are you from? Yeah, South Germany. Ah, you are Bavarian.
So you have that.
Yeah.
You showed in the work that it's like 16 states, right? 16,
yeah, we have 16 states, and even they are split in different areas, and you have, I don't know, around 20 different dialect groups.
And these dialects are very different from the main spoken.
Yeah, from the main spoken language, yes. So
and they're
people from
understand each other. Like a guy from the Uber, he reads from the north.
A guy from the north would have problems to understand us from the south, and vice versa. When they speaking in the north, they are really local language. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, in Brazil it's not so strong.
No,
and I guess in Poland there are things like this as well, like the Kashubi. I don't know if it's a dialect or a different language.
I'm not a linguist, but as far as I read, it's an own language already. Kashubi.
Okay. And then you have the Góralski, which I think is similar to Polish.
It's like, I'm also not a linguist and an expert, but as far as I know, it's like a bit a mix between Polish and Slovakian. And then you have Poznańsku in Silesia. Poznańsku.
Ah, right. Okay, yeah. They call Śląski, right?
Śląski, yeah. Okay. And it's like this is Silesian. But this is Silesian. But this is funny because it's kind of a mix of Polish and German. So if you speak Polish and German, you can fairly understand.
I heard it once. It was interesting. It's like a German person speaking Polish or a Polish person speaking.
It's like, as far as I know, the Polish dialects are like more different in pronunciation and an accent, so it's not extreme.
So they can still maybe understand each other.
Yeah, but here in Wrocław and West Poland, as far as I know, we are speaking very general Polish.
Okay, all right. The other question that would be related to the, I remember, was it again the culture? Like, is there like do you see a big difference between cultures in Germany? The German, I mean, you said already, it's like a 16 divisions, right?
Yeah.
So I guess in Germany also there are different cultures. Am I
within Germany. So I mean, of course, when we speak about German culture and Polish culture, we always generalize. But you have always have in mind that there are different local cultures, and in Germany especially. So the mentality in different areas can be completely different.
Because coming from Brazil, the idea that we have of Germans are people that are very methodical, they're always on time, very professional and stuff, and they're never late. And which region would be that in Germany?
I mean, this would what I call as a common sense in Germany.
Okay, that's true.
This is like I mean, this is of course in this general saying. This is of course simple, easier, but I would call it's a value. It's a predominant value in Germany to be punctual. But this doesn't mean that everybody is punctual. I mean, this is a value, but it doesn't mean that everybody is punctual. Yeah. So I think the Brazilian people would be very disappointed coming to Germany and traveling with the train, with the
Deutsche Bahn.
With the Deutsche Bahn, they are late all the time.
Really?
Yeah. So they would be very disappointed. It's like, I am in the right country.
I was talking about this kind of stereotypes yesterday with a friend on our WhatsApp group. And he said he went to Switzerland.
Yeah.
And in Brazil, we have this image of the Swiss being like very rich and very polite and very posh.
Yeah.
And then he was on the train, and then the lady was sitting alone on the desk. She invited him to sit with her, and he was eating a soup. So he sat next to her. That was the only space available. And this lady, as he was eating, she blew her nose in a napkin really strongly, And in Brazilian culture, for you to blow your nose in public, it's absolutely like disgusting in our culture. It's like really wow, it's like almost taking your trousers down and doing a number 2 or something. It's almost the same. And she was doing that in front of him, and after she did that, she wished him a good meal, enjoy your meal.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then I understand here it's difficult for us to go to the toilet every time our nose is running because come on, you just walked on ice coming here. But in Brazil it's hot, so there's no excuse. I mean, it doesn't happen very often.
So you want to tell me this little bit of snow now out there is a lot of snow?
Well, it is. By the way, we agreed on 5, and he called me saying that he would be on 5. And I said, don't worry, man. If you don't come on 5, it's okay. We still have 2 hours to start. And somehow I managed to start late.
I was late. I was 5 or 10 minutes after.
No, you were like 5:03. Yeah, when you rang the bell. 5:03, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so still 3 minutes too late, yeah.
Oh, man, unacceptable. I should have canceled earlier. But fun enough, I noticed the difference between Bydgoszcz and Wrocław. In Bydgoszcz, if you say to somebody 5, you were there like, I remember being like 1 or 2 minutes before 5, and then I waited outside to ring the bell at 5.
Yeah.
Because they were really punctual. If you come 10 minutes early and you ring, then it's like, oh, but it's at 7. It's not like the 6:50. And then if you're late, then also get upset. And I remember visiting somebody from the village next to Bydgoszcz, and we were on time. And this guy is also Brazilian. So he told his wife, you see, I said to him they'll be on time. They are from Bydgoszcz. But even the buses, man, they come on time and they stop at every bus stop. It's very rare to find that thing they call na żądanie. So you don't have to raise your hand, very rare, maybe at night at some point. But every bus stop they stop and they're always on punctual. For me, this was incredible. The system to run so punctual. In Brazil, you go to stand on a bus stop, you never know if the bus is going to come or not. You have to ask somebody that's close to you, does this number pass here? Yeah. When? Well, we don't know. Half an hour, 40 minutes.
Okay.
But I guess then comparing a German, let's say German general culture with Polish general culture, what do you think the differences are? Because both are very, I mean, for me, they seem to be very punctual. This is a German beer, by the way, that Florian brought here to us. What is the name of this?
Radeberger.
Radeberger.
Yeah.
It's nice. So what would be the difference for you then from this
cultural thing?
Generalizing maybe from both sides. Or maybe from your local area in Germany and then Wrocław.
I mean, there are a lot of differences, but bring it to one certain point. It's hard, but I would say, first of all, in communication, I would say. In Germany, and especially in my area, we are very direct. So it means like really, yes or no. Do you come tonight? Yes, no, fine, no discussion. So it's not being unpolite. Actually, it's even polite to say no instead of beating around the bush.
That would be a problem.
Yeah. So and then in Poland it's the other way around. So it's very indirect communication. So I mean, a direct yes maybe is possible, but a direct no is not so.
Have to give a reason.
Not really. No. It's more like, so if you are asking someone, do we go for a beer tonight or cinema or whatever? It's like, I will see. I will call you back. I don't know. I will let you know. This means more like, okay, it's a no. So it's like,
so you don't expect that.
The most people wouldn't give you a direct no.
Okay.
Or, for example, this was. I don't want to call it a cultural shock, but it was like a moment. I came to Poland, and very often in Poland you get asked, do you want a coffee or a tea? And you got offered a coffee or a tea, and I said, dziękuję. And I thought, from my German background, it's like, yes, thank you. So
you agree with the coffee or tea, and you thank them already.
Yeah, and in Poland, when you say in this situation you say dziękuję, it means no, thank you. And I was sitting there. When I do get my coffee or my tea, yeah. So it took a while to find it out that this dziękuję means no.
I heard this. Not this situation, but I remember inviting people to play football, and they were sitting by the bench, and then I said to them, the guy's leaving, it's going home. You want to play? And they said no, and I thought they were saying no, but then they came to play. But they said no, you know.
It is something else. No. It's like
yes.
like yo. Yes. It's like a slang for yes.
Yeah, seriously, it's like
Yeah.
slang for yes. That's kind of funny to say no, but then it sounds like yes.
Yeah. So this communication kind of style, I would see as the biggest difference. What else? I mean, there's when it's
Anything similar between the two cultures?
similar.
They are both punctual, right?
What?
They are very punctual on time, right?
From a Brazilian point of view, maybe from a German point of view. For example, I can give you an example. When at work when we do a meeting, or when I do trainings in IBM in our company, and it's like when I'm doing this meeting, I'm waiting in Germany when it's like, okay, at 9 o'clock. The meeting is at 9 o'clock. In Germany, everybody would come 10-15 minutes earlier.
Okay.
And then we start at 9. And in Poland, it's like the first people would come a bit before 9, then a 9, and then it's like in Poland, it's like they understand it like 9 o'clock is like we are gathering, and when we are all together, we are starting. So that's for example from time a difference.
Wow. I didn't think like, I mean, meetings at work, it's true. I noticed that. But when it's like home meetings, at least in Bydgoszcz, if you say 7, it's 7.
Yeah.
But going back to that previous point you said, I remember I got in trouble with some Polish lady because she invited us to spend, I think it was not Christmas, something before the Vigilia or something. I don't remember. And I said, no, I said, okay, maybe I will, but I'm sick at the moment. If I get better, I will go.
Yeah.
And then a friend of her wrote to me on the following day, and I was going to write to her on that day saying I'm not going to be able to go because I'm still sick. But that lady asked me in the morning, even before I spoke to the host, and she asked me, "Are you come?" I said, "No, I'm not going to come." And then in the afternoon, I think my mind was going everywhere. I was very sick. So then I wrote to the lady saying, "No, I'm not going to be able to come. Thanks for the invite." But apparently I should have invited, you said even before, and then I had to say, wow, what you've done is amazing. I like the idea of the invitation, the organization you're doing. It's cool, it's incredible, but I'm not going to be able to come.
Okay.
I should have added more than just saying, no, I'm sick, I'm not going to be able to come. I should have, that's what I heard from other Polish people, that I should have added a little bit more information.
Maybe it's like more apologizing or so.
But the biggest problem was that the lady I told first immediately told her before me. And then when I told her, she already knew. So she was a bit like feeling like, why did you tell her first than me? But she wrote to me on Facebook, what can I do?
Okay.
Yeah. But that's what I noticed with the no. But in general, yeah. And
I mean, the differences between Poland and Germany, maybe they are so tiny or not in the first moment not obvious, and this is making it so tricky.
But Polish people are direct as well, don't you think?
I think it's always from the point of view. If you have a different culture,
for me it seems
for you it's maybe direct and punctual, and for another culture which is more on the extreme, it's always the point of view.
That's true. Makes sense.
For example, we were talking today about driving and traffic.
Yeah.
I remember. If I'm speaking to people from South Europe, Italy, Spain, I say, oh, here in Poland, this driving is so civilized and so calm. And from my point of view, it's not.
I drove in Italy, man. It was the closest I got to Brazil. It's like the guys are like changing lanes like nothing. They don't signal anything. It's just a madness. Nobody respect. From what I saw, nobody was respecting traffic signals. But in Poland, when it's 90, people are always 110. And when it's 120, they're always 140. It's like always 20 above from what I see. And if I obey, I feel pressured to disobey because they get behind my back at 90 kilometers an hour in this country lanes, and they start holding the car to go, and I'm thinking 90.
It seems everybody is in a hurry here.
I think like when they get in the car, they transform themselves. It's like an old lady getting in the car, suddenly she becomes a Schumacher, like she won a race.
Yeah, so it's always, of course, a point of view. So I think from German-Polish perspective, the difference are maybe aside a few things, not that obvious. So not that obvious, and this is because that's the reason why sometimes it's a trap you can fall in. So really like this tiny things.
Sure. Well, it's like you have experience with that because you've been teaching people about stereotypes, breaking stereotypes. You also work with Wrocław Open Up, teaching Polish kids. If you want to explain what Wrocław Open Up is to people so they understand a bit.
Open Up, that's a foundation here in Wrocław, supported by several companies, corporations here in Wrocław. And the idea is to open tolerance towards different cultures in town, to make this town cultural diverse. But it's not only about culture, it's also about giving to children workshops, teaching them skills, not only about regarding cross-cultural, intercultural competence, also about teaching about project management, teaching about presentation skills. So all the skills you need nowadays in work life.
Yeah, like project management, I heard, presentation skills.
Yeah.
I remember once he invited me and I went dressed as a Muslim.
There we had made together this cross-cultural competence training, and we're changing roles or having different roles.
I was from Morocco, I think.
Yeah, you had some clothes on, and I think you said Morocco or something.
I think it was Mohammed.
And I pretended we were speaking always English, but I was pretending to be Polish or strict Polish, I think. And then, and then later, out of the sudden, we surprise, you are from Brazil. Yeah, I'm from Brazil, and I said, by the way, I'm from Germany.
when the children saw me, children are adolescents or something, like 13 years old, when they saw me, that was going to be their teacher with that robe, with the long beard and the shoes from Aladdin. They said, Jesus Maria.
Yeah, I saw this. Yeah,
they were like, they were shocked, and the security guards at work, they were like staring at me. But I made sure to keep my badge big in front of my chest, so they knew I was from there. But they were like staring big time, the Polish security guards. Man, it was scary. Yeah, for a second I felt the pressure.
Yeah,
but it's good, I think, to do that, to teach them. Because I remember once we were doing that, and then we left. We went to the city center.
Yeah.
And then there was a manifestation, like a protest against foreigners.
Yeah, but this was such a minority.
Yeah, like 10 people. 10 people. No, foreigners. That was funny, man. Do you have a way to? Oh, you have everything.
Yeah. Again, to complete German stereotypes, I have always the opener with me.
Is it common to go to somebody's house in Germany and take 4 beers with them?
No, it should be 6 actually.
What is the limit again for drinking and driving in Germany?
Now it's like 0.5 promille.
So could you drink 2 like this and still drive?
This would be tricky because like this is 0.3. So 1 wouldn't be a big problem. At least for me. 0.3. You had only 1.
I had 1, and I feel like
I mean, it's always a lot.
4.8.
Yeah.
And 331.
Yeah, but it's like.
What is this signal here? Is this liter?
Yeah, that's liter.
But that looks pi, like pi.
And that's L, I think, because this is for export. So they have different languages on there and different signs. So it's not really German.
Oh, this is not German. I see even Portuguese here.
No, it's made for export.
Oh, true. Yeah, Polish as well.
I bought it here in Poland. So
Russian.
I bought it here in Poland. I had no time. If I would have had time, I would have organized something local from my area, of course.
That's true. It was short notice.
Yeah, but I told you about this alcohol limit in Germany. So when I made my driving license 18 years ago, it was 0.8 promille. So it was like in my
2 years like this?
No, 0. You could drink 2.05 as a grown man, let's say.
2.05.
A grown man with my, and 05. It was like, I told you, I'm coming from the village, and it was like very often on the weekend, hey, let's go partying on a bar. Okay, who's driving? I can't drive. Okay, you don't drink more than 2 beers.
So like in parties here, I'm always on the drives.
I mean, here in Poland, no way. I mean, it's 02 or so. It's
cannot even smell it, so you get drunk. I mean, you get already, you know, if you.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also a lottery, so it's better not to drink anyway, even if the law. So it's like being reasonable. It's better to be reasonable.
But in small villages, when there is a wedding, I see that people don't care. Like I've seen village weddings where the guy lives like 5 kilometers from that village to the other village, but there's not a big town, so they just go to the wedding, drink everything, and just drive home because it's a farmland. So they, you know, I've seen this before.
I don't know if I shall tell you what I saw with Polish police.
No, that's better not. Better not say anything. When it comes to, you know, living in Germany, I guess in Germany you didn't have problems in looking for flat or things like that.
Oh no, there is.
Yeah?
There are. I mean, with this kind of thing, it always depends where you live. But there are towns where the rents are very high, and it's very hard to find something. Towns, for example, Munich, it's the most expensive town in Germany.
Wow. And bureaucracy-wise, Germany and Poland, which one is the most bureaucratic? For example, to rent a place, like what the landlord would be asking too much information from one side or not?
You know, there's always the official papers and the unofficial. And here in Poland, I realized there's a lot of unofficial renting.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know, when 8 years ago, I saw this very often, maybe now not so much anymore, but very unofficial renting. So
without contract, just
no contract. No, I saw that often. On the other hand, when you, I don't know if there is more bureaucratism, vice versa. What I would say here in Poland, sometimes the bureaucracy doesn't work. You get very often a catch-22 or so.
What is that?
You know what is a catch-22?
No.
When you can't get any further. There's, or do you know Asterix? The house where they get crazy. They get this blue A38 document.
I don't remember that. No, I've seen Asterix, Obelix, and everything, but I don't remember.
And I can give you an example.
Catch-22, never heard of it.
Catch-22. So when the bureaucracy is so complicated, you can make no move because the law says this, but you cannot solve it from the other side because there's another law.
It's almost like 18-year-old looking for work and they ask for job experience, and you're not allowed to work before 18 years old. For example, in Brazil, you're not allowed. So you're stuck in the system. You cannot.
Yeah, no, not really. I'll give you an example from reality. So I told you 8 years ago I came to Poland, and I told you I have 2 citizenships. And my surname is typical Polish. And the difference between Polish and German writing is just a dash on the N. So Polish people would know this ni. It's an N with a dash.
Oh yeah.
And I had a German birth certificate written in German, so in the German way written my surname. And later, when we requested the Polish citizenship, or how to say, we requested at the Polish consulate that they prove that that I also have the Polish citizenship because of my heritage. They created a Polish birth certificate, but the translator translated it my name 1-to-1. So in the Polish,
there was no dash.
There was also no dash, but this was never a bigger problem. I got a Polish passport from the Polish embassy with the dash.
Okay.
It was never a problem then. But 8 years ago, I came to Poland, and I wanted to be registered. You know, Urząd Miejski, the place to write it down, and you have to show 2 documents. And I showed my birth certificate, my Polish one, and my Polish passport. And they looked at it. Sir, these are 2 different names. We cannot register you.
Wow.
And Yeah, what to do? Yeah, go to Stanu Civilnego. I don't know how it's in English.
Yeah, they call the civil office or something,
like that. Yeah, where do you do all those
like
marriages and all
and
that?
marriage,
Yeah. And I went there and I said, sir, we cannot change the documents for you because you are not registered in Wrocław. Boom. What are you doing now?
What? You have to go back to Germany to do that?
Yes. And it worked out as it always works out in Poland, from my knowledge. I knew someone who knew someone at the Urząd Miejski, and we went to her and asked her. It's always good to know someone here in Poland, to have networking.
That's true, I noticed that as well.
And she said, yeah, there is a solution, there's a workaround. You get, we register you tymczasowe, so for a period. Then you go to the Stanu Cywilnego, and then you can fix this stuff to make the documents clear. And so we did. So I was registered for a certain time period, went again to the other office, and then it was not done there, it was done there to Warsaw, and in Warsaw it was fixed. And I got the dash.
Just for a dash.
Yeah, for a dash. So you were asking me if Polish is a complicated language. So I don't know if Polish is the most difficult language in Europe, but for sure it's the most expensive. The dash costed me 500 zloty.
Just for a dash. Imagine, man, if you had an ass as well with another.
Yeah.
My goodness. For me, in the Urząd Civilnego was funny because my son was born here, and then we went to register him.
Yeah.
And in Brazil, you cannot have one surname, like for example, Rainer and then Silva. Yeah. That is strange because if you have one, it means you have no father.
Okay.
Your father didn't register you. But then if you have father and mother, you have at least two surnames.
Yeah.
The middle one is always for your mom, and the last one for your dad. Of course, things are changing, but still, the general. So I wanted to do the same with Lorenzo here. So I wanted for him to have Alves from my wife and then Silva for me. Went there, and then they said, no, you can't do that. No, because either he has your surname or your wife's surname. You cannot mix. This is not. It doesn't work like this. And I was like, man, I can't believe it because this. If we don't register like this, is going to be against our culture and against our habits and everything. For some reason, she had my passport in her hand, everything. And then she said, what language did you speak? Because I was talking to Karine in Portuguese and decided what to do. And then we said, Portugalski. And for some reason, she put in her head that we are Portuguese. And she went to the manager and told the situation. And she told the man that we were Portuguese. And then the manager came and told her, then you have to do it because they are from the European Union, so the law applies here. So you have to do exactly like they're asking. So then she did. And then we walked out. I was like, but hold on. Did she were Portuguese? But how? She has our passport in her, but I'm not going to fight against that, So I just left her whatever she wanted to think, and it was sorted. But I heard Brazilians that couldn't do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, coming back to your first question about the bureaucracy in Poland and Germany, I think in both countries there is a lot of bureaucracy, but only with the Polish one I had very often this catch-22. But you also hear in Germany a lot of strange stories about bureaucracy. So,
but in Germany, if there is missing something on your documentation, for example, I don't think, from my view of Germany, that you can know someone that can help.
Yeah, this wouldn't.
No.
I
don't think so, right?
No. This would. So if this would in Germany be seen as corruption, if someone from an official government office would do something for a body or help something for a body.
In Brazil, I see that it's like, I notice here, for example, when you go to a government official, like a Urząd Miejski or something like that, they're always very cold in the first seconds, and they're really tough in the first, like giving you maybe even some rude answers at the beginning. But after 1 minute, they sweeten up and become really nice and even smile at you sometimes. Um, but I remember when they were doing this app WAP. I don't know if you heard about this. It's like an online profile where you can do everything online. So you can do your birth certificate. You can get a copy online.
Yeah.
You can get a copy for wedding, marriage certificate online. But first, you have to register online and go into a location where it's predefined to sign a paper in front of an official or somebody. Then they can confirm that you exist, so your profile is not fake. Perfect. So we went to help my friend. We got there, and the lady was trying to explain to us that what was needed. We gave it to her, and we had the Zameldovania on the telephone, on the mobile phone. We had it, a copy of it, a PDF copy, scanned. And she said, "What is the Zameldovania?" And then we opened the phone and said, "Here." No. So, but it's here. No, but I have to see it.
Yeah, but
I'm showing it to you. She said, "No, I need a copy in front of me." I said, "But you see all the all you need, all the numbers, everything. It's on this paper." She needed a number from personal number from the Zameldovania and everything. So as a Brazilian, I was trying to find a workaround so I didn't have to go back home again for something that I had the same thing on my phone. And she said, "Ostatnie razy." Ja ci powiem.
Yeah, but this is something I would call similar in Germany in Poland, because a document is a document, but like a copy or a picture on a phone is not valid. It's not a valid document.
I was a bit surprised because when I did it, they didn't ask for the Zameldovania. But when he did it, they asked it. And apparently it's because he didn't have the personal number written on his carta pobito. So they needed the paper. So then and she was very rude after that. She said, "For the last time, I'm telling you this," and then she went on a rampage. And she was very tough. And then when I went home and got the papers, came back, I was like, "Okay, ostatnie razy jesteśmy tutaj." She smiled, man.
Yeah, but I have to say, I think you can hear similar stories about bureaucracy in Germany when families and friend members like running 10 times to the official office to get something fixed. So,
but I think that's why Brazil is corrupt, because people are always trying to help each other too much. Like it's missing something, don't worry, we'll find a way. Maybe you can send me via email later. I don't know, we'll just fix it.
Yeah, and in Poland it's like if you know someone, you have to know someone. Yeah,
it's true. It's true. For it's true. What about cost of living in both countries? Like you live there and you live here. Which one do you feel like you have more maybe financial freedom to go out and not think about the cost of a beer, the cost of a meal?
In Germany, in Germany, I was the most time I was a student. Of course, I had financial problems. So it's not really to compare. It's not really comparable because here I'm working. It's impossible.
So you've never worked in Germany then?
I worked, but the most time when I was a student, and then I worked for 1 or 2 years in Germany, and then I came to Poland. So my working experience in Germany is very limited. I mean, I worked during studies. I worked in companies to get some money and so on, of course. So, but this is not to compare. Student life is different. I mean, living costs, of course, the living costs in general in Germany are higher than in Poland. Of course, on the other hand, what I realized, the salary in Poland is rising not that fast as the living cost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know Poland now about 20 years, and I told you this volunteering service, the social service I did in Poland around 2000. This was before Poland joined the European Union. So there was, since ever then, the living costs were rising, and so the living costs in Germany are higher. What I very often realized here in Poland with talking with Polish people, it's like they hear how much money you can make in Germany for even if you are unemployed. So you get when you are in Germany unemployed, you get a certain amount of money from the government to survive. And then very often you see people calculating what is this in zloty, the euro in zloty. Wow, that's so much money. I could easily live from that. Yeah, but in Poland, you know what I mean?
Right.
So they completely, very often, not all, but some people really completely forget that the living cost is also higher in Germany. So with this kind of money from the unemployment agency, you do not live very well in Germany. So it would only make sense you get the money in Germany and you still live in Poland. Then it would work out.
In Gorlitz.
Yeah.
Then across the border and rent
then,
something.
Then it would maybe work out.
But also in Germany, if you have this unemployment benefit, I know in Brazil it lasts only 6 months. You have 6 months to get a job. If you don't get a job, the benefit stops, and then you are on your own.
In Germany, it's changing all the time. But far as I know, there is unemployment money in the first time, and then later it's changing to social support, which is lower again.
But it doesn't stop, so you get some money at least.
No, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop because it can go for years. But they make it more and more harder to stay. So if they offer you a job, you have to take it, whatever.
Okay. You have to go to the job.
So the welfare system in the last 20 years changed completely. So 20 years ago, it was maybe easier to milk the system.
So people started doing this maybe.
I knew people, like punk people or so, left people who had a certain kind of living milking the system, but they did not live a very, very high living standard. It was like, alternative.
Yeah.
So it's not the way that you could milk the system and you could have a nice high living standard living.
Yeah, I remember one friend, not friend, but this guy I met, I knew him from time to time, meeting him in the UK, and he said that he was on the benefit in the UK system, and he said that it was better to be on the benefit because if he was working, he would get, I don't know, like 300 pounds more, but then all the taxes that would go, he would get like 50 only above what he was getting at that moment. So for him, it was worthless to try because of his trade. He wasn't really skilled or anything. So for him, it was better to stay on the benefit of the system than to go to work.
By the way, your glass is empty.
Oh,
I can't see that.
Oh, and I'm gonna get drunk.
From 2 little
beers. We can have a drink with Polish people. Yeah, that's an advice I'm gonna give right now. Never drink Polish people and German, especially if the guy is both. Just stay away. I'm starting to see a lot of numbers on the screen. It's like 100 people watching now.
Okay. Oh, so a lot of people in Brazil know now that we are drinking beer.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be in trouble.
But by the way, talking about drinking in Poland and Germany, I don't like vodka. So I don't like this vodka drinking. So when it comes to stereotypes, and
your Polish half is broken.
This is not my Polish half. No, I don't like vodka.
Just a second, let me bring something Brazilian to you because I forgot.
You made caipirinha?
Actually, I was gonna make it, but I'm Brazilian, so I forgot. There we go.
Yeah, you showed that.
There we go.
How this is called?
Pão de queijo.
Pão de queijo.
Pão de queijo.
Pão de queijo.
Queijo.
Pão de queijo.
Queijo, that's right.
Pão de queijo.
Pão de queijo.
And these are the flat ones.
Yeah, this is getting. It's getting cold.
It's good.
Wow. Getting pão de. Wow. I'm forgetting how to speak pão de queijo.
You are losing your native language.
I'm speaking like you. Pão de queijo.
Pão de queijo.
This is the most, I guess, symbol of my state, I guess, Mineiro, like Mineiro thing, because people born in the States called Mineiro. So I'm here eating pão de queijo with a German Polish guy. What do you think? Do you like it?
It's good. It's great. And you said it's from manioc?
Manioc. We have cheese. We have eggs. I think buttermilk, oil. And then you mix everything and round balls and put in the oven. It's very fast, easy to do.
I take it with me. Thank you.
You can do it.
It's great.
But this is hard to eat afterwards.
It's
Something
getting
that-
dry.
Yeah, it got really hard. You have to do it and eat within maybe 4 hours. After you have maybe to a microwave to be soft, or you do it then bigger, and then the next day you put in the microwave so they become a bit mushy.
Yeah, I would have I would have a solution, but maybe it would be an insult for you.
What do you mean?
In breakfast, I would put it into coffee.
This guy is making some crazy, mixture with the punch. He was proposing to put punch cage in jelly, put punch cage in what was the other thing he said?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce. No,
Some chili.
don't eat like that. But definitely punch cage with beer is the first time I'm having.
But they fit very well together.
Really? Let's see. Interesting. I don't know. I'm used to eat this with coffee and milk, so it's a different taste. And we wanted to ask as well about culture at work. Do you feel that there's difference between like some like cultural rules and work rules in Germany against Poland? In Poland?
Yeah, there are. I would say I wouldn't call it. Yeah, you can say culture or habits. I mean, first of all, I mean we are working for international corporation, and so we have more or less the American style. But I also work for small and medium-sized companies here in Poland, and here in the small, medium-sized companies, I realized that the hierarchy is much higher than even in Germany.
What do you mean by the hierarchy?
So the boss occupies usually a very high. He has the last word. You know what I mean?
Okay, he's the king.
Yeah, I worked in sales department, and we had to make offers. And I mean, maybe it's what this company was in an extreme, but every offer we made for the client had to be first shown to the boss. He had to sign it, give his stamp, and then we were allowed to send it out. So if the boss was not there for 2 or 3 weeks, days, let's say a few days, we had to wait.
And this was a Polish company.
This was a Polish company in Poland, and so the hierarchy is way higher. Maybe it's also changing in the few years, but generally, I would say the hierarchy is higher. And the other I would call it working habit of the employees. The Polish employees, I think they are very used to work, how to say, a strict 9 to 5 job, but more like 8 to 4 or even earlier. And in Germany, it's very common. You work until 12 o'clock, then you have a break of 1 hour, and then you start again 4 hours working.
I'm the same in Brazil.
So, and in Poland, it's more the Polish people prefer more to start early, working without a break, and then leaving early. So in this first company I worked, it was like starting at 7, and then around 3 o'clock we can leave.
Oh, nice.
And nice. I was there to make
summer is perfect. You have the rest 7 hours of sun to
yeah, but I'm not a morning person. But the other problem, the other problem was as well. I had to do sales to Germany, and the first hour was for nothing because I could barely reach anyone in Germany because they also usually start at 8, except for some early birds, of course. And then 12 o'clock was again a time where I could do nothing because the most Germans were on this break. And then at 3 o'clock, when I could still work more with my clients, 3 o'clock I had to leave the company.
We had similar situations with the French clients as well. Yeah, because there were people in my team starting at 7, and the French were not even thinking about getting to work. And then at 9 they would start, and then the guy would start the meeting. So he had 2 hours in the morning with no possibility to contact the client in France.
Yeah.
And then at 12, the French go to lunch, and they come back at 1:30 drunk.
Oh, now again stereotypes. Yes, stereotyping.
And then 3 o'clock, the person from my team goes home. So they had like from 9 to 12, so 3 hours in the morning to be able to talk, and then from 1:30 to 3. So they had like 3 hours in the morning, close on 9:30 in the afternoon, 4 hours and a half throughout the whole day of 8 hours. Imagine. So how can things get done like this? It's impossible. Sorry, I wasn't. Apologies to people that are watching us. I didn't see the comments because I'm probably drunk.
So it's my fault again.
But the settings were to say only the main message. I don't know how the YouTube decides that, but now I put on to all messages. So I see that Rodolfo Martins was saying, "Woohoo, it's working!" So yeah, finally, man, it's finally working. Tamara said hello. So there's a guy called King GC, so saying hi. There's a guy called Sulek Lalvani, said something that doesn't make any sense. Have Leah as well saying hello. Have Rodolfo telling Sulek off, which is a good thing. Thanks, Rodolfo, for that. Then we have Fred Richter. That's got to be a German name or surname, right? Richter. Is that German surname? Fred Richter?
Richter. Yeah, maybe can.
Brazilian German, I think.
It can be of German origin.
I think it might be German. So then we have Rodolfo saying, "Welcome, Fred." Thanks, Rodolfo, for intermediating the chat. We have again Rodolfo asking you a question. Which country is most difficult to adapt in terms of building relationships and bonding with local people?
So you mean between Germany and Poland?
Yeah. Make a friend, bond with the locals in Uber.
Starting with Germany, here again, it's very depending on the area. So the mentality can be very different in each area. So I would say, talking from my area, Swabian, it's very hard to get into the local.
Get the jacket off, man. You're sweating.
Yeah, but you said it's not compliant.
It's okay. I told Florian to not swear in the live, and then he comes with this shirt. What the F is a Breschlinglen-Sausch?
Breschlingsgezels.
What is it? What is that?
Breschlingsgezels.
Man, and I thought Polish was hard to read. Breschlingsgezels.
So that's local Swabian dialect for strawberry marmalade.
Such a hard word. Yeah. Something so nice and sweet.
Yeah, the real German would be Erdbeermarmelade.
Erdbeer.
Erdbeermarmelade.
Erdbeer.
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 Nee. Erdbeermarmelade.
Erdbeermarmelade.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. What does it sound like beer? Erdbeer.
Erdbeer.
You see? You're saying beer.
I said beer, not beer.
Even strawberry marmalade in German sounds beer, like beer.
We were about the people, about the boundaries and the contact.
No, it's like which one is easier to make friends and bond.
Yeah, in Germany it really depends on the mentality. So comparing, for example, in Bavaria, the most people are very open. It's easy to get in contact with them. In my area where I'm coming from, Swabia, it's maybe not that easy. The people can be maybe very distant. But if you have someone of this as a friend, then you can trust them. You can really rely on him. So it's maybe not so easy to make a Swabian guy as your friend, but when he is your buddy, you can trust on him. That's what I would say. In Poland, I never had problems in Poland here.
It's easier.
It's easier. It's like going into town, meeting people, getting in contact with strangers. No problem. And I mean, from having so making a Polish someone as a friend, yeah. I have a lot of friends who I met occasionally somewhere in a pub or in some situation, and now we are good buddies.
For honest speaking, I I have really incredible friends in Poland, and like really nice people.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Brazil is seen to be like a friendly country, but I think our culture in Brazil is very superficial.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm not saying too fake, but it's like so easy to be friends with someone that they don't care about friendship so much.
Yeah.
And then if you disappear from their eyes, like I'm abroad now,
Yeah.
so my friends are there, but they don't contact me, they don't write to me or anything. But the friends I made in the UK were much harder to make, because it was much colder, hard to be in touch with them. I had to call them before to go to their house, when in Brazil, just show up and knock at the door. And then these guys are like my best friends in all the nationalities I have. Like I can count on them anytime for money, for anything. It's incredible. It's really amazing. But it took harder to become friends. So I guess it's similar to what you're saying.
Yeah. Again, in Germany, the mentality can be different in each area, and there are local mentalities where they are very open, very friendly, but only on the surface then. And then there are areas where it's hard to make friends, but when you have them as friends, they stay forever.
I'm just writing back to them. So the other question is, hi Rainer from Leo MS. Hi Rainer. Ask him about, in case of rent apartment in Germany, what is necessary to pay besides the value of rent?
You asked. We had this discussion before about the renting a flat and so on, isn't it?
Yeah, we didn't go into details. I think he wants to know
what is necessary to
maybe pay. Because I think in Poland you have to pay caution, like 1 month rent, and then you have to pay the agency if you're going through the agency. But that's it in Poland.
Yeah,
I don't know in
Germany. But this
Germany.
is in Germany similar to Poland. It's like in Germany, it's like there are some flats. The owner is renting it, and the owner is having let's say an announcement in the newspapers and so on. So you don't have to pay an agency
fee.
But if you are using an agency, you have to pay an agency. And as far as I remember in Germany, or as far as I know in Germany, it can be tricky because sometimes they want free rents in advance, not 3 months. So this on a deposit.
Kasha.
This kasha, and I don't know how it's in English. Deposit. They want free rents on a deposit to be safe. This is very common, but there's a good thing in Germany. I had this with my landlord as well. You don't give him the money physically. You go together to the bank. You give the money on the table, and the bank is taking it. They create their own account, which belongs to both. Oh. And so no one alone can open this money without the other.
Oh wow!
So when your contract, renting contract is closed, you go both to the bank, and the money is on the table, and then the guy gets the money back, or you say, okay, 50 to you, 50 to me, because flat is destroyed or whatever.
This is amazing, man. Because in Poland, you depend on the owner of the flat.
Yeah, you do.
If he doesn't like it, you can take it.
Yeah, it's written in the contract, but
no. It never happened to me, but I heard of people that it happened to them. That's really nice. I think that's that's a German solution for the problem.
Yeah, but I could imagine that you could do something similar in Poland as well if you just go to the bank and check out.
But I don't know if the landlord would accept, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the other point, yeah.
Yes, that's the thing. There's another question here from Thais Rocha. I'm going to translate. She said in Portuguese, I'll translate to English. Oh, hello, Rainer. Ask him in which country he thinks the customer service is better in relation to also not only customer service, but also relation doctor-patient, like the treatment. Is it like a friendly treatment and this?
But like for client customer.
Like you go to Media Market, for example, what's the treatment here and in Germany, and the doctor. If you go to a doctor here, Because in Brazil, man, the doctors are so friendly. Like you sit there, they make you laugh sometimes, ask you things, and they never talk about it.
I would make a difference between doctor and going shopping.
Yeah. She said the two. She did two questions in one.
Oh.
So let's start with customer service first.
In Germany, we have our own stereotypes about our own. It's like Servicewüste Deutschland. So it's the service desert of Germany. There is no service in Germany, no real service for clients. That's the saying in Germany. I mean,
is it bad or rude or what?
I mean, compared to maybe to other countries like Southern European countries, there's maybe less service, but it's hard to generalize. But usually the contact between customer and client, so even in this direct contact, end user, end customer, and shop seller is usually very formal. But it is a difference if you're, for example, going for a bakery or the local butcher, the local shop in the countryside or in your small district of your town. There it's usually, again, very close, like everybody knows everybody, especially on the countryside. And there it's very close and very good contact between customer and client. So I would more make less make difference between countries. I would more say in Germany, it's like it depends on what kind of shop you are going. Big supermarket hall, this is a distance. We are very formal. I don't know you, you don't know me. You are Mr., I am Mr., whatever. On the other hand, I'm living, I told you, I grew up on the countryside, and we had these local small shops, and you went in there. Hi, Florian. The guy or the woman knows you maybe since childhood time.
Nice.
So that's something completely different story.
Wow, I missed that.
Yeah,
I remember in the city going to the bakery and the guy saying, "Hey, how's your father?"
yeah. So it's like I went to Poland a few years later. I came back, and I came through the other village where I went to school, and where there was a bakery and butcher bakery, so on. And I thought, hey, let's get in there and let's get a roll with meat. And as I did as a child, I went in and she knew me already.
Wow.
Hey, Florian, it's you. Are you back? And so on and so on. So she knew me. Nice. Even, here, years later.
My goodness. That's what I noticed. Like, it doesn't matter where. If you go to the capital of either the state or the country, people are too busy and they lose this human touch. But if you go to smaller places, people are more friendly, more welcoming. They even invite you home without even knowing you. I remember living in the UK, in London, and going to country. And then I had an idea, an image already about English people. But when I went to country, I saw English people waving at each other from across the street because they recognized their friend, or shaking hands all the time because I felt they were really distant from each other, just saying hi, no shaking hands all the time. These guys were shaking hands, were talking close to each other, were having fun and stuff. It was really cool. Just a second, I need to release my dog because she's barking here.
You let this little dog out in the snow?
She was going out earlier and now she wants to get out. But the thing is, I think she's dry now. She was soaked.
Now she's back.
Now she's back again. I mean, she wasn't in snow right now. She was just in her room, right? Let's say.
Okay. The difference between Poland and Germany again in this kind of point.
Which service you prefer?
Hard to say. I mean, sometimes I just prefer to go to a supermarket and have a look, and I don't want to get disturbed by someone trying to sell me something.
This is what I noticed in Europe. People don't like to be helped. They like self-service. In Brazil, if you go to a shop like that and nobody comes to talk to you, this is like you never walk back there. It's like you need a babysitter service in a way. Like you need somebody to come. Oh, look at this mouse. This mouse has a technology X, Y, and Z. And this one is better than the other one there. So what do you need this mouse for, sir?
From the German point of perspective is I want the service as soon as I ask you. So I'm looking around, and then I found something I'm interested in, and then I would say, sir, I would like to have your advice.
But when you do that, do they make you feel like you're bothering them?
Yeah, if they do it out of the sudden, it would be like a feeling you feel bothered. Yeah.
I have this feeling, Paul, I'm bothering not everywhere, because there's Euro RDTV shop in Corona. Man, the sales guys are awesome. Like, I really love them. It's really a lot of fun when I go there and we talk. And I remember there was a day that he had a card that he scans my product and gives me a little card, so I'll go and pay and come back and get it. His card was the last one when he gave it to me. So when I went there to the first floor, I asked the lady to give me more cards so I could give back to him. So when I gave it to him, and he was like, wow, this is really nice, you know. So we bonded somehow. But I see, I guess in Germany it would be difficult to happen this kind of thing because of formality, right?
But for example, if you go into bigger cities where people with emigrants are living, you may have it differently. So people from Arabian countries or so, and they maybe would be our seller. From my personal point of view, it depends. I mean, as you said, there are people that are very good and very nice, and it feels good. And with other people, it's like, okay, he just wants to sell me anything. You know what I mean?
But I don't feel like this in Poland. Like, they don't push things on me. They always, I remember a situation, I'll never forget that. The guy said, don't buy this here. He told me that. Go to the other shop and get it. It will be 100 zloty cheaper and much better. Trust me. I was like, thanks, man. You are my buddy. I'm going off. It was about this modem where the small ones that you put a microchip in, and you have internet, you know, on the go. And then he said to me not to buy it on that Play shop, but go somewhere else. It was cool. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but on the other hand, here in Poland, what I like here, on the other hand, is if you go to the small shops, you know, Żabka and so on, especially if this is in your district, you know, maybe the person who's working there because it's from your block or somewhere around, then you also have this nice contact. Or maybe now I'm telling, or how to say, proving a stereotype. In Germany, I had it very often. You go into a shop, like a bakery or shop, you're not from your area. You go in and there is a girl working, and she face straight, iron face, and you are already afraid to say something nice. And here in Poland, you go inside such a shop, and there's a girl standing. She's smiling. You smile back. Okay, nice. You know, it's like hello, nice, smiling, vice versa, and it was a nice meeting. Yeah. So this is the other experience I made in Poland compared to Germany or compared to my local area.
Okay, and I think
the doctor thing.
Oh yeah, the doctor, yeah. Like when you go to a doctor in Germany and when you go to a doctor in Poland.
In Germany, mainly I was local doctors, especially in the countryside. You have the doctor in your village or the next village, and he knows you as well from childhood on. So again, you know, another story. It's like
so you get sick, go there, say, oh, you're just like your father. This is genetic.
Maybe not that far, but yeah, he knows you. Of course, when there was that I lived, for example, then later in studies in different places, so I had to go different doctors. Then it was like also a formal contact.
Oh, it's formal.
Mr. Okay, very professional behaving, and I wouldn't make a big difference here in Poland.
In Poland, I noticed the doctors are friendly as well.
Yeah, no, friendly.
Not all the time, but
no. You don't misunderstand me. I don't say the Polish doctors are not friendly or the other doctors in Germany are not friendly. But I think there's different being friendly and being close to someone. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm Brazilian.
That's the same for you.
Because I told you, because you told me today that you have 2 Brazilian friends, me and Jair. I was shocked because I've been seeing you around so many Brazilians, and I was like, man, this guy is friend with all the Brazilians. But you said there's a difference between being a friend and a colleague, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's maybe again very German that we make a real difference in our social relationships. Family members, close family members, far away family members, friends, buddies, colleagues, people you know.
So a lot of categories.
Yeah, we have a lot of categories.
I heard this comedian in Germany say that when you go to buy some sort of screw in the shop, you have to fill like 10 forms to decide which one you're gonna buy.
I mean, that's a stereotype, but yeah, it brings it to a point. Yeah, that's overdoing it, but yeah, it brings it to a point.
But I noticed that from time to time, I see in the eyes of the Polish doctors that they are really itching like crazy to ask me, why the hell I'm in Poland since I'm Brazilian? Or what am I doing here? But like maybe 12 times in this whole 5 years I'm here, almost 6, they could resist it. They asked.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, sir, but can I ask you, why are you here? Why?
Yeah,
we have, they add, they say, you have beaches, you have sun, you have caipirinha. What are you doing
in cold
in the cold Poland?
I had, I don't know, now talking about doctors, I had also similar situations, but more like one doctor asked me, because I told you of my typical Polish surname, and he asked me, when did you come back? Or, no, he asked me, when did you leave Poland? Yeah. So he thought that I was one of those guys as a child leaving Poland and coming back now. Actually, I was really proud of that because this meant my Polish is not that bad, that he could consider me as someone...
As a Polish.
A Polish, yeah.
Nice. Did you have the dash already on it?
Yes, already.
Good. That's the difference between a German and a Polish is the dash.
You know, actually, coming back to this story, it was like when I went with my German ID in Poland to get registered, for example, even on the on the bank account, they always write it with a dash. That's the way how you write the surname in Poland.
Yeah.
No question. And so actually, all my other documents were with the dash. Only this birth certificate caused a problem.
Let's see.
But coming back to the doctors, and another thing was...
You're not eating pondicated, man.
Dude,
I'm watching you. You didn't like it.
Now you're starting to be Polish. Eat.
It's very rude in Brazilian court not to eat pondicated.
No. And in Poland, it's like, you know, you have eaten, you are full, eat more. It's fine. You don't like it. No, I had a lot of them before the transmission. You know that.
True.
Yeah.
Once I had Christmas in a Polish home for 2 days. I was there eating like a pig, day in, day out. Every 3 hours, she'd bring all the different hams and different types of food, and I ate so much that 2 days after I got ill for some reason. I went to the doctor. They did a cholesterol test. It was so high. It's like, what happened to you? I was like, Christmas. Polish Christmas. That's all. I was fine before that.
But to finish the story with the doctor, I don't want to lose this line. Not far away, it was like, it was at the dentist, and then they were sending me to this X-ray stuff. And I went in and, hello, here for the X-ray. And she realized I'm speaking with an accent. She said in Polish, "Do you understand me?" And I said, "Yeah, no problem." Okay, but you are foreigner. Yeah, I'm from Germany. Okay. And then she was sitting down and she was looking for my documents in the system, and she was asking, what's your name? And I told my name, my Polish surname, and she looked at me. It's like, is he kidding? Is he kidding to me?
It was like a Polish name. This guy has an accent. How confusing is to my brain? I want to put him in a box, but I can't.
Or for example, at work, you know, we have the system with the typing stuff, like chat. and people who don't know me, from HR or so,
Oh yeah.
contacting or
Polish language.
writing straight in Polish language because my name is so Polish, typical Polish, and then I'm writing back, and I really try to write back in Polish. It's like I want, challenge accepted,
Yeah.
And after a while, it's oh, you are not native speaker. Yeah, but keep going.
Wow. That must be annoying.
It's not annoying to me. No, not at all.
That's good. Well, I remember at work I had a similar situation because I have a German name. My name is Heiner, right? And then the guy from Germany wrote to me in German, but I have a Portuguese surname. I don't know. Maybe they have somebody from Portugal in the country. I don't know. But he just wrote to me in German, and I told him I'm not German. He was surprised. I couldn't understand why a Brazilian guy would have a German name. Because in Europe, it was like, you are English, you have an English name. You are French, you have a French name. It's not very common to be mixing too much.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Especially in Poland, man. I never met a Polish guy called John.
Yeah, maybe in Poland, but there was a generation in Germany, a whole generation called Kevin.
Really?
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne. I'm kidding. That's not even the German. I think it's in Belgium or something.
I have no idea. But yeah, in Germany it's changing all the time. For example, in East Germany, I know it was very actually during the separation of Germany between West and East, it was very popular in East Germany to give the children foreign names like Jacqueline, Romy, Jacqueline from English, Jacqueline. French, Jacqueline, or in French, Jacqueline. So yeah.
Wow. But the worst and the most funny situation because of this we just talked about, when people look at your name and your name is from as a nationality, they assume you know that language. I was going to a meeting before on the day after Brazil had played with Germany, and we lost 7-1. It was the most humiliating defeat in World Cup history.
Yeah, really.
Thanks, man. You're very kind. You're very kind. You're pretending not to remember that. And then I joined the call earlier, like 5 minutes before, and there was a German guy already there. And this guy never met before. Maybe he just saw my first name on the scene, and he told me, "Oh, we won yesterday." I was like, I didn't win anything, man. It was, yeah, we did. Did you see the match? We won 7-1. So you won 7-1 because I'm Brazilian. I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. Brazilian, we have a German name. I said, no.
Actually, I saw the game. I think after the 5th goal, I turned off the TV.
Man, I think I went to get a cup of water in the kitchen. I came back, there was like 3-0. It's like, what happened?
It was like, no, maybe we were talking anyway about football. First of all, I'm not a big football fan. I'm just watching championships, European championships and world championships maybe. But here comes my schizophrenia in time. I'm supporting the Polish team.
If Germany is playing, you're supporting the Polish team?
I'm supporting always the Polish team, even if they're playing against Germany.
Wow.
And if Poland is not part of the championship, I do not consistent watching the championship. So this was the case in Brazil. Poland wasn't there. And I did not watch a few games. And today Brazil is playing against Germany. Let's watch it. Oh, yeah, it could be an interesting game from the numbers. And then you saw it. Oh God, so boring. I turned it off. And I said, so maybe I made now points in Brazil. I did not how to say it in English.
Are you gonna tell me in German? I can't translate German. What you say?
I didn't want to give this favor to the German team.
But why do you have this love for the Polish team and hate for the German team? Because they're always winning, the German team. You want to support?
I think it has to do with childhood time, with when I was a child, and in the countryside in school. I told you I was there, the Polish guy, and so sometimes when we had fights as children, then I was the Polish guy. And I remember there was a game between Poland and Germany in the 90s, and Poland was very bad at that time in the 90s. So forget it, horrible. And they had a friendly match in this time, Germany against Poland, and Poland lost horrible against Germany at that time. And then next day I went to school, and they told to me, "Did you saw how we were beating you yesterday?" Oh. And since then, okay, I'm against German football team. Later I grew up. Now I'm more neutral, not so much against, but still my heart is for the Polish team.
So when you are in Germany, is there any moment where they treat you as a foreigner? And when you are in Poland, they treat you as a foreigner as well, like because you said some situations, you feel like a foreigner. But I understand that because of your Polish accent. But in Germany, you have a native, even your Swabian Uber accent. You know?
Yeah, this is where I realized it can be it's very fluent, or it can change in one moment. So in Germany, it's like people who don't know me in Germany, for example, especially through the studies, meeting new people, and from my accent and even from my surname is not that uncommon in Germany. So the most people even wouldn't recognize it as that Polish. So at least not in the first place. And
now Florian is a German name.
Yeah, but also the surname. I told you my surname is typical Polish, but it's still already not uncommon in Germany. And so you can see the Polish origin in it, but Germans are sometimes used to surnames with Polish origins because there have been a lot through history. And not everybody with a Polish surname is a Pole in the first, second, third generation. Can be.
So it happens, yeah.
Yeah. So people did not recognize it, and speaking this local dialect, and no one would recognize me as a Pole or a foreigner anyway. But I never made a secret out of my heritage. And when I said, by the way, Polish family was in Poland, whatever, my family comes from Poland. In this moment, I switched. You are the Polish guy. So, woof. So this is what they did not treat me differently. We were still buddies, friends in the studies, but then I had again the label the Polish guy. So
you're always a foreigner, kind of where you live.
I mean, what for a lot of people is hard to understand, I think, is to accept or to live with this idea of two. Nationalities, call it identities, call it two heritages, however you want to call it. But it's very, very often hard for people to accept that you have some kind of both souls in you. And so they try to reduce you. So there were Germans. They wanted to, there were always people who wanted to explain me who I am and what I am. So there were Germans telling me I'm not German. There were Germans telling me that I'm German. There are Polish people telling me I'm Polish or not Polish. So it's like but it's always reducing to some.
Well, we need this. I don't know why, but we need this thing. Honestly, I haven't even been able to figure out what I am in Brazil. Like I told you, am I Mineiro? Am I Paulista? I was born in São Paulo, but I don't have the São Paulo accent. I don't have anything from São Paulo. Then I go to Minas Gerais. My ID says I'm from São Paulo, you know? Even though I blend in, my parents are from there. I don't know what to feel. Right now, my Mineiro accent is a bit gone because my wife is from São Paulo.
Yeah.
So I'm becoming a bit more Paulista, they say. I don't have expressions like we end the sentence in my state saying Y at the end. Not in English. The Y in English is UAI. Doesn't mean anything. We just say, why are you not working today, Y? You know, this is like a...
it's a weird thing. Could tell you stories about that. In my local dialect, we have the tendency, we ask someone, and then at the end we make also a word, geld. I don't know how translated. Geld. It means nothing. It means nothing. It's just like it's a bit like, do you agree or something, or isn't it? It's like, isn't it? Or but in reality, it doesn't mean anything. And my sister, she's living in Berlin, and she has a child, 2 children, and it was something like I was something telling to my niece in saying, isn't it bad? It is bad, isn't it? Like, but then in this German girl, and she, Mama, why they are always saying this girl? So talking about
they are Polish.
yeah, talking about this identity stuff. Coming back to this idea, I mean, in Germany we also have this local things, yeah. So local patriotism. You're proud on your area, on your local area, and you love it. And there are these local fights, not on a real level, so that there is a real fight, but it's like, you know, nagging each other and so on. But on the other hand, with this fluid identity, or how you want to call it, it also can. I learned to live with it, and I learned to use it as a weapon. So I told you I have family in Bavaria, and I was once going there, and my cousin, he's very, very proud on his Bavarian country. I mean, actually, he's a mixed by himself, but Bavaria. And I went to, and he said, "Yeah, we Bavarians, great, and yeah, and you Swabian, ha ha ha." And so in this sense. And in one moment I got so annoyed and told him, dude, I'm Polish. I don't care about if you Germans don't get along with each other.
And especially now that you've been even living here for 8 years,
yeah,
and your Polish is much better than before. So then you have even more, you know, the Polish identity more alive, right? Yeah. But the question that I would like to ask you, what made you decide to come and live in Poland when you could be living anywhere also in Europe? I'm asking this because many Brazilians that will be watching this or are watching, they think of Germany like the place to go and work, and they save a lot of money, send a lot of money back home, and they don't imagine Poland being like this. So when they see a German living in Poland, it's like, what is wrong? What's going on? You know, why?
Yeah, the most Poles are asking me the same. I have very often this question from their side. Yeah.
So they would also.
Yeah, but which story you want to hear? There, I prepared a lot of stories.
You see, this German is so organized. They even give you options. I'm Brazilian. I'm not prepared for anything.
There's a story for the girls. There's a story for the guys. There's a story for the party. There's a story for the employer.
I see. So you're ready.
To be honest, the truth is very boring. It's boring. It's when I finished my studies, I worked a while in Germany, and a friend of my family asked if I do not want to work for a while in their company in Poland, in sales department, because they want to rise the sales to Germany. So why you don't come for a year? I said, why not? Going for a year, learning, improving my Polish.
But you'd be selling things in German to German clients, right?
You know, in Poland, working in Poland and selling those stuff to Germany. This was the idea.
Okay, so you're contacting people in Germany.
Yeah. I was working in this Polish company, calling or making contact, making sales to Germany. And the idea was 1 year. Meanwhile, I sent applications again in Germany, and I go back after 1 year. Still I am here.
So you came in 2012 or 10 or 9?
No. It was.
Because I came in 2013, I'm here almost 6 years. So you came in
2010 around, yeah.
Wow. And you came to Wrocław, no?
I came to Wrocław, yeah.
And you always been in Wrocław?
Always been in Wrocław, since every day, yeah. So, the plan or the idea, like going back after 1 year, did not happen. I liked it. So very often when people here, especially Polish people, are asking me, why are you in Poland? They want some hard facts. Yeah, I can't give you. I came here, I liked it, I stayed.
I think that they are so used to the fact that most of the foreigners that come is because they married a Polish girl or they're dating a Polish girl. So they always assume that they say, "Oh, you from Brazil? You here? Oh, Polish wife."
You married a Polish wife. You poor guy.
No, post conjunction. I don't have Polish wife.
No, yeah. Sometimes did you marry a Polish girl or something? That also sometimes. I mean, I know those guys who married a Polish woman and came here. Yeah, but no, it's for me. It was like, yeah, that's the point. There is no hard fact. I came here. It was planned for a while. I stayed. I liked it, and still I'm here. What else do I need?
Yeah, it's true. I also think the same. This is a great country to live in. Somehow we are kind of protected because there are not many foreigners. Because people don't know much about Poland. They don't understand how good it is to live here. You have a German that decided to live here. You have a Brazilian that left all the sunny beaches in Brazil and now enjoying life here. So there's always people that come and they don't want to go back because they enjoy it. And it's a pity from one side that there is this still old stereotype about Poland where they think it's a block of ice with polar bears. Because it's Poland and polar bears. So it's like somehow they can.
Apropos, you told me you want to ask me about the climate stuff.
Oh yes. I was gonna ask you if you feel which country you feel is colder, like.
Yeah, again, you always have to consider the area, the geographic area. But I'm coming
the Uber.
Yeah, actually,
inside Uber.
Yeah, this is where my mother's family is from. I'm not from Uber. I'm more from the north.
So you're born in the north. I thought.
No.
Oh, again, you're born in one place and lived in another.
No. All our local areas are again divided again. So I'm from Swabia, but my mother's family is from a certain part of this Swabian area, and I grew up in the mountainside.
So you're a Highlander.
Yeah, I'm a Highlander. Yes, Swabian Highlands. That's the point. I'm not from Uber. I'm a Highlander. No lowlands. I'm from the Highlands. And
so in Germany, is good or bad? Like, what is better, to be a Highlander or to be a guy from the valley? I have a feeling that the Highland is better.
I give you a joke. This area is called Schwäbische Alb. And there's this joke in our area. The most, it is called Schwäbische Alb with B, not with P. That's very important.
Okay.
And there's this joke. What are the most 3 horrible illnesses in the world? Cholera, lepra, you know this?
Lepra, I know. Cholera, I don't know.
Cholera.
Oh, cholera. Oh, yeah.
Cholera, lepra, und von der Albra, which means from the highlands.
So it's better to be from the valley.
Okay. Yeah, you were talking about the climate. So actually, I'm from a very cold area. So Swabian Highlands. There's also this joke. These are the Swabian Siberia. I talked lately to my parents, so they have about 30 centimeters of snow and minus 15 degrees.
Wow.
So here, Wrocław, compared to that, is very warm in winter. But the other hand, I have to say, I'm more used to this cold of minus 15 degrees, which is a dry cold. And here, very often with this rain and wetness, that's worse, to be honest. It's warmer on the scale. But it's wet, so
it feels colder.
Yeah, it feels colder or more unpleasant. So the dry cold is better. In summer here, and again, that's Wrocław. Wrocław has a very high humidity in summer.
True.
But this is because Wrocław here, this was a former swamp area before it was dried out, and so that you have a lot of canals from the river. So that's the heating up the humidity. For example, colder. I don't know if you're watching the weather prognosis in Poland.
Sometimes I see, yeah.
And you see the coldest area in Wrocław is always northeast in Suwałki.
Oh, I didn't get it. No,
you have to pay attention. Always in winter they have minus 10, 15, 20, 25 degrees.
On the northeast?
Northeast to the border of Lithuania.
Okay, yeah. Next to Lviv, that really.
Lithuania.
After Rzeszów.
No,
you're talking about Augustów.
Augustów, this area.
On the area. Okay, like Mazuri, above
Mazuri. This is not anymore Massow. It's already our own area. So
further right. Okay, northeast. Okay.
Yeah. So
I drove in Augustów. I like that region. It's
there it's in winter. It's very cold.
Wow.
So compared where I'm from, it's colder than here in Wrocław. But if you would say going to Augustów, Suwałki, then it would be maybe even more cold. So hard to say.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see that you feel that, I mean, in your region in Germany is colder than where you're living in Poland, because people normally in Germany imagine Poland is colder than everything else. It's like Siberia.
Yeah, this is the stereotype because it's in the east and yeah.
I remember, I'm not joking, there's an English lady, my friend, not a friend of mine anymore, we lost contact, but she thought the polar bears came from Poland.
Okay.
She told me that. I'm not making this up. She did. It's incredible. I thought she was joking, but actually I stopped laughing when I realized she wasn't. So I just stopped.
When it comes to the temperature and climate, you always have to consider the microclimate, and it can be different in each area. So Wrocław is, as far as I know, is one of the warmest areas in Poland.
Yeah, it's the hottest, and also one of the highest also, because of the humidity cities. And the level of the sea, I think we are 157 meters above sea level. Bydgoszcz, I think we are like 32.
Yeah.
So the air pressure is very different. In Bydgoszcz, I feel like my head is like a lot of pressure in my head. Here, I don't feel anything.
Here it's flat.
But also, of course, if you go to Zakopane and then above, then those cities are really, really high. But they are small cities. I guess they are just comparing the big towns in Poland.
Maybe. I never saw such a ranking, but maybe, yeah.
8 big towns. But the Thais Rocha, when she asked you about the doctors and also customer service, she said that in Brazil there is this saying where the client is always right, and in Europe it's different. She said, I've been to some places in Germany and Czech Republic where people were kind of rude. They were doing as a favor. That's why I asked. So we talked.
Actually, there's the saying in Germany, der Kunde ist König, which means the client is the king. Yeah, but it's not happening, But
on one hand, you see this culture shock. A Brazilian would like to get
approached. By the way, here, I can't see it empty.
A Brazilian would like to get approached by the salesperson, where a German would be waiting for the Brazilian to invite.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we talked about all the topics we wanted to cover, unless I'm too drunk to remember. People might be thinking that I'm actually drunk because we're laughing a lot. And normally, all the other people I invited, we didn't have, because we always like this at work. And we always making jokes. I mean, this is not even like 50% of all the crazy jokes about Jews, about we could go. I mean, this video would be censored if we went on real life. But we're not drunk. We're just being ourselves.
As I told you, talking about stereotypes. So I had to face in my life both stereotypes. Yeah, in Germany. You are of Polish origin. Where are my car keys? Yeah, so this joke about stealing. In Poland, then I never had. It was mainly it's joke, so I can live with it. I can't stand a joke, and that's maybe why I developed this humor, because attacking is always the best defense. So I'm playing with the stereotypes. I like to make jokes about both sides, from both sides. And that's maybe why I using humor, irony, sarcasm, sometimes even cynicism as a weapon to protect it.
And the cool thing is I see is that you created a program inside the company where you teach people about multicultural training and understanding of the cultures, understanding of not all the language, but understanding that there is a different way of thinking, there is a different way of working. There's not one way, so people can collaborate better. And that's a cool thing, because of your dual citizenship thing, different cultures and you understand there's a difference. But when you have a person that's raised, for example, in Poland, never lived abroad, always only worked and spoke to Polish people. When they work with a foreign, they might not understand. And I remember you explained some stuff about Germany, and there was a lady that said, "Wow, I never imagined that, or I never heard about it." And in your training, I was waiting to give a speech about Brazil, and there was a lady from Budapest, and she said that in Budapest, a man cannot give a hand to a woman.
That. Yeah.
For me, that was like, what? Like
Yeah,
you can't greet a woman shaking hands. If you do this, it's because the lady is, is a prostitute or something. And I went to Budapest on holiday, and then the lady that hosted us, she was sweet, man, really nice lady, like 60 or something. She loved my son, and she hugged my son and gave my son to us. When we went to say goodbye, I was like, about to bring my hand from the back, and then I remembered the class. I was like, she's not a prostitute, so I can't shake her hand. So let me just say goodbye and get in the car. I just waved and went home.
Yeah, I mean, regarding this thing, I think because of this background, I was very interested in this field of intercultural competence, intercultural communication. And I was lucky during my studies to come to a company who was dealing with this kind of things, giving trainings, giving consulting to companies about that. And this guy from this company, we are still good buddies. We are still in contact. We are still working together, also on a scientific level. And how to say, I had this always in my mind, or more or less. And then I came to a company where I saw an announcement in the newspaper, and I realized, so this could be interesting. And then I got into the scientific level. What came to my mind is what you said about someone who never met a foreigner, who never was abroad, who never did. I think it's like you're always living in one reality now. There's only one reality for you. But if you are changing cultures, it doesn't have necessarily to do with your heritage. Even if you go abroad and live there longer, you experience another reality, and then you realize that things can be seen differently, that you behaving can be differently, that things can be seen differently. That, for example, what's rude in public, what's not rude. This is and all this stuff. And by the way, this guy, Chris is his name. I hope he's watching now, Chris. And he's very passionate about Brazil. So
we should be in touch.
Yeah, you should maybe interview him when he comes to Poland.
Or we can even maybe do it via Skype. Just give me his email or something, and you know how to do the German way. I don't wanna. Oh, I'm a friend of Florian. I found you on Facebook. This is a bit the Brazilian way. Brazilians think that they add you first on Facebook, then to get to know you. That's how they think sometimes.
Okay. You know? I think in Germany it's the other way around. If I know you, okay, we can contact on Facebook or on social media or whatever.
I have this a lot because of the YouTube channel. Some Brazilians that are coming to Poland, they watch me for so many hours that they feel they know me. So then when they go on Facebook, they just add me there, and then I'm looking like, who is this person, And then suddenly I found that they have another person in Poland they added, because that's how they do it. They start adding other people that they are also in Poland to help. So,
I mean, it's here this communication is only in one level, more or less. Yeah.
But okay, Florian, thanks so much, man, for coming and for sharing all this personal and non-personal and your opinion and
you
stuff.
See, I knew I should have brought one more beer, so we could have one more hour of discussion.
I have more in the fridge. I hope that I'll bring you a Polish one. But I don't want to hold up too much because I know you have to work tomorrow. And I'm working from home office, so it's fine.
So now you are very German again. You are reasonable, responsible.
Oh, see, this is for your Polish side.
Yeah, you have to come.
I will leave it here.
Yeah, for my Polish shit.
Because you had the German beer, so now you have a Polish.
Yeah. By the way, talking about my experience years ago. I mean, I know Poland now so long, and 18 years ago, I've been volunteering in Poland. And I have to say the beer 18 years ago was much better as it is today.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think is that? They joined the European Union. Some rules they have to abide now.
Please make Paul exit. I want the good Polish beer back. No, the Polish local companies got sold by the big corporations, and then the beer flooded it up.
Ah.
And when I came to Poland 8 years ago, you had only two kind of beers in the shops: Jasne
and China,
Jasne and Mocne.
Oh,
so
okay.
Blonde and strong.
Aha.
And now with the craft beer movement in Poland, it changed again.
What do you mean craft beer movement?
You know, craft beer, like people making.
Oh, the one that you.
Craft beer, like people making their own beer, and now we have again small breweries, local breweries again.
Oh yeah, in Bydgoszcz there was a restaurant that made their own beer. It was really nice. Kuchnia Waziemnia, something like this. Really cool.
Why we are not making a live social experience? How does a German, Polish guy and a Brazilian guy behave after a few beers?
I'm gonna ask them if they have any more questions to you.
I don't know if I should say that, but my first contact to Brazil was very intense.
What do you mean? You never been to Brazil? Right?
Never been to Brazil.
But you're
my first girlfriend was from Brazil.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
She.
What's her name? Oh, you can't say. Better not to say. So was it very Brazilian name?
No, she was
Janaína.
No, she was. This was a complicated story as well. She and her sister, she got adopted by Germans when they were children.
What?
Out of a favela.
Favela.
And she came to Germany. So she grew up in Germany, but her origins were in Brazil.
That's some lucky people, man. Nobody adopted me from Germany. You're in the favela, and two Germans come and pick you up and take you to Europe. Come on. Lucky one.
Yeah, but then she met me.
She's going abroad again. Yeah.
Are there any questions?
No, they're not asking anything. There are 5 people watching, but they're not asking any questions. They're very passive.
I thought Brazilians are more active.
I thought so too.
So you are losing trust in your own people.
I think they don't like me, man. They just log on and leave the computer on and go on Netflix on the other window.
By the way, talking about football in Brazil, you see, I'm more passionate about Polish football. You know that Poland won against Brazil in the World Cup '74.
I think I heard rumors, but I never checked.
No, it's really like
in '74.
This is the year which is very tragic for Polish football. When there was the World Cup in Germany, 1974, Poland had a great team, and they made it to the half-finals and lost against Germany in the water battle of Frankfurt. So much work. By the way, I was born in the 80s, but I still remember the game.
You know, yeah, that's weird. The 74.
So the narrative is transported. But anyway, Poland made it to the half-finals. They lost against Germany very tragically, and they played about place number 3 against Brazil, and they won. And another history of football, in 1938 was a World Championship, and Poland and Brazil played as well against each other. I think it was 38 or in the 30s, and it went into the history as the most interesting game, 6-5. Brazil won 6-5 against Poland at that time.
What was the Brazil Poland? Which year?
1938 or so.
Wow, let me put that there.
There was no transmission.
Yeah, 65. Huh.
So it was always one goal on each other side.
My goodness. I'm gonna check that afterwards on YouTube. Brazil won 6 and Poland scored 11 goals in a match. Wow. I'm gonna have to check that out. I don't even know who was playing 34. Definitely wasn't Pelé. Because for me, Brazil football is almost like after Pelé, you know?
Yeah.
It's like before Pelé, I can't imagine us with a team. I don't understand that, but I guess I think Brazil was the first team ever to win the World Cup that was not from Europe. Because there was every year was this European team winning.
Yeah.
And then Brazil was the first one to win. And won in a very different way because of the style of football.
No, I think the first winner of the World Cup was Uruguay.
In
football World Cup.
I know the
first World Cup, I think Uruguay won.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I remember from the Brazilian movie, the story of the life of Pelé.
Yeah.
If you have Netflix, you should check it out. It's really nice. If not, then let's arrange. You can come here one day. We can watch again because it's really a nice movie, and it teaches how Pelé developed. And it's a very nice, well-made movie. Actually, made me proud to be Brazilian, which is something hard because of all the corruption going on there. But I was proud for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours after the movie. And it says that European teams were always winning, and then Brazil was the first out of Europe to win. Yeah. But maybe I don't know. Maybe
with Poland, it's like Poland usually is losing against Germany, but a few years ago there was one game they won.
Well, when the World Cup ended, in this World Cup, I told you we lost 7-1 to you guys, and Germany won the World Cup. Then Poland played. It was the first match after the World Cup with Germany. Poland played, and Poland won, I think, 3-2 or 3-1. And then all the Polish guys came to me and say, "We are the best in the world." Because Germany won Brazil, and we won Germany, so we are the best.
No, I was so happy at that day, at this night. Oh wow, it was so cool.
Yeah, I remember that day. Yeah, in a previous company, it was always like this. If you are Spanish, Portuguese, whatever, and your team loses, the next day you have to respond to all the failures and everything. Everybody and the Polish people in the company will be asking, "What happened yesterday? What happened? What's going on with your team?" And most of the people always worked from home on the day after a defeat on the World Cup or the Champions League or European Cup, I don't know. And then I did the same. When Brazil lost 7-1 to Germany, I called my manager, "Can I work from home?" He said, "Sure, man. I totally understand that. Don't put anything on the request. Why you all requesting to work from home?" "Well, because Brazil lost 7-1 to Germany." Now just say something else. Okay. So that's what I did.
By the way, my friend Chris told me that in your language, the 7-1 went even into the language. Like he had his 7-1 when you lost something, or it became a saying.
Jokes. I don't know if it became a saying because I wasn't there. I'm not there yet, so I don't know. Maybe I'll go back. I'll find out. But the thing is, I always see like they're making jokes. For example, whenever it's like something related to dates or something like that, they always use the symbol of Germany against Brazil, and Germany meaning 7 and Brazil meaning 1. So it's always like this. Today, I don't know, it's 2000 and 2017. When was the year 2017? Was a number 2 and a 0, then a Brazilian flag and a German flag. That one I remember. I remember when it was the 17th. I think it was 17th of July of 2017. They did Brazil Germany / 0 Germany / Brazil Germany. So you could read the whole date just with the flag.
So we meet at German Brazilian 0-0.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they did. Yeah, it's and the sad thing was in my state actually, Minas Gerais, in the state of I don't know if it was Mineirão or Mineirinho, but they have 3 stadiums there, the big ones in the capital.
Dude, for two guys who are not very interested into football, we're talking a lot about football.
Yeah. I'm shocked. Imagine if we knew. We'll be talking about their private lives, how much each player has been paid.
Oh yeah. True. But at least in other sports, Poland can score.
Oh yeah, Poland is good at volleyball as well, which by chance, I don't know, Brazilians, I think is the second biggest sport in Brazil for football, and then volleyball is the same, I think, in Poland.
Yeah, because Poland was very successful in the last years, so it became very popular.
But one thing that you guys like here that I don't understand very well, I find myself watching sometimes, but I don't understand what is the fun of it, is that circle thing with the motorcycle.
Suzel,
where they just go in circles in high speed.
Speedway or
it's like a mud, a lot of
mud. This is very big here in Poland. I'm more interested in football as in motorsports. That's for sure. Yeah. Handball, football, volleyball as well. And I don't know if I don't know even if Brazilian people know this kind of sport, ski jumping.
Oh, there's a guy called Clever Povoação. He says, right now, I'm waiting 1 hour for my pizza. In German, they also wait so long.
I love this guy. I think you get your money back.
German efficiency. I don't think so. Well, but the funny thing is, like, probably in Germany, the guys making the pizza are not Germans, right?
And we have here in Germany, the pizzerias are usually run by Italians. So it's
really,
usually it's more like a restaurant and not fast food.
But do they deliver fast? How do they do it in an Italian way?
I think it depends how if Italy won or not.
According to Jair, the Italians are the Brazilians of Europe.
Oh, I like this saying because sometimes I get asked about Germany, and about Germany is very often the stereotype: leather trousers. You know, this leather trousers, Oktoberfest.
Oh yeah.
So this is Bavaria. This is Bavaria and not whole Germany. And I always keep saying, you know, Bavaria, that's our Texas. So, like, first of all, in the stereotypes, because everybody thinks about America, cowboy, prairie horses, like Texas with this that. And the same with Germany. So if you ask people, foreigners, they very often have Bavarian things, stereotypes in mind, and not whole Germany.
Well, in Brazil, for example, most of this stereotype, I mean, I don't know.
Rio de Janeiro, yeah.
But I mean, the Germans in Brazil, for example, the ones that went there, they are mainly these guys with these clothes. Like, I don't know if it's Bavaria. And when it comes to Polish, I see they are the guys from Góralski region or for Silesian region. They have this different clothing.
Yeah, but I think if people go abroad and they try to keep their identity, they go back to such stereotypes. You know what I mean?
Could be.
So
even their homes back in Brazil, the Polish people, it's full. I don't know if you know this, but Curitiba is the second place in the world with most Polish people after, I mean, of course, Poland, but then you have Chicago, and then you have Curitiba, which has 1,200,000 Polish. And it's the biggest outside, you know, in South America for sure. And even the Pope went there, and then I think he did a mass in one of the parks.
Yeah.
So they baptized that park as John Paul II's park.
Yeah.
And also there's a lot of Polish towns, but there's also a lot of German towns. And I remember one, it's called Pomerode. And in this town, they speak German until today. And they're not speaking the standard German like you spoke about. They speak something called Plattdeutsch.
Yeah, Plattdeutsch, that's the North German version.
So definitely not.
And it has a lot of similar roots to Dutch.
Okay.
So I wouldn't understand it. I was a few times in North Germany, and when they're speaking their local language, their local Plattdeutsch. No chance to understand.
Wow.
It's like different. It's like a different language. I mean, it belongs to the same language group.
Yeah.
And but it's different. But it's the same. If I told you, if they would go to South Germany, they would have problems to understand us. And the official standard German, that's like the common sense we found to communicate with each other.
But when you go to school, you learn the standard German. Your teachers don't speak the local.
He should, but but I went on a local school in a village, so different story. But of course, you have to write and learn and read in the official German. But my teachers were speaking the same dialect as we do.
And how is the official German code in German language?
They usually say Hochdeutsch, which in my opinion is wrong because this is a propaganda name. The proper name would be Standarddeutsch or Schriftdeutsch, like writing. So when in our area we're saying if someone is speaking this official, hey, he speaks like he writes. He's writing. He's speaking like the writing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And he's not speaking naturally. He's speaking like the writing.
Okay. You know, in Brazil, there are some stupid orthographic agreements, and they change the language, they change the writing of things. And there was one that they did, which changed even the name of the country. Because Brazil has Z, the sound is Z, like you know, Z, like Brazil. Yeah. But they changed it to S because of this agreement. And casa was a house, then instead of Z, it became an S. And a lot of things became Z instead of.
So, how far is the difference between Brazilian and Portuguese?
It's let me try. For example, if you say in the sound, it's complicated because it's different. Of course, there is also word difference as well, but also the pronunciation is different. And they use tenses and conjugations that we don't use. For example, they use tu estás. We don't say tu, we say você most of the time. Instead of tu, and we replace that. You have the second person singular and you have the second person plural. In Portuguese, we don't do that. We just use você é e vocês foram. So it doesn't. I mean, this is the stupid thing in Brazilian Portuguese. This is not in grammar. This is not taught in school. We are learning in school the Portuguese like from Portugal. I am is like also. You are to S. Yeah. But when we speak, nobody really says to S. No. You are. They say they say different. Você é.
But at home, the most people are speaking a dialect or at least an accent. Of course, when you're going to towns, big cities, the dialects are usually lost.
Just somebody writing to me. So. So basically,
I could talk for hours.
Me too, man. Me too. I'm really enjoying this, but I think we're gonna have to end.
So we lost. Now 4 people are left.
I'm sure more people watch later. Lorenzo is coming as well. I can see. My son is coming crying. So let's end. So,
okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. It's a true Brazilian.
I learned from you.
Appreciate that, man. And thanks, guys, for staying with us and watching. Have a good evening. Bye, everybody.